So, let me explain what this video is, because that's basically what this clip is gonna be, just me explaining what this video is. If you didn't get it from the thumbnail, try to make it very obvious from the thumbnail alone. But this is me reading 5 books in 10 days, starting today, which is the 20th of April. Because I'm smart and postponed this. In technicality, I have excuses. But, I have I had a theory. I had a theory a few months ago, quite a few months ago, but a few months ago, about the color blue. I am very colorblind. Not like extremely colorblind, but enough where it annoys people and some colors are difficult for me to see. I did spend an hour this morning trying to find a green book for the next video in this series, because this is going to be a series. And of course, my brain, I was having real difficulty. It's a lot of me just messaging people in group chats being like, is this color blue? Is this green? Like, what is happening? So that is kind of like a very basic thing. The very strong theory I had was that blue is one of those few colors I can see clearly. And so it's not my favorite color. It's technically second place, I guess. Second or third place. But I own a lot of things in blue, including shirts, which is why this is the only video in this series that will actually have me wearing the color every day. Because I am, like, 98% sure the orange shirt I have is actually red. Like, who knows? I have a few red shirts and dresses and whatnot, but I own a lot of blue shirts. I own a lot of blue just items. It's just my color, despite the fact that my favorite color is magenta. Blue is my color because I can see it. Therefore, I just go to it because I know that it is blue. So that has kind of become a thing in my life. Someone mentioned it to me 3-4 years ago that just blue is my color. I did not know that. Like, before this, I didn't even recognize, because half the purple things I own, I thought were blue the whole time. Like, this is the level I live in. Or I think some darker blue things are purple. But not really shortly after that, but somewhat recently, about a year ago, I was just like scrolling through Goodreads like you do, and I recognized that quite a bit of the books on my favorite shelf are blue. And so then I was thinking, like, there was like a whole entire theory thing about me and the color blue, if I just enjoy the color, or books that are the color blue, if, like, recognizing that the color of a cover of a book does not affect my enjoyment of a book at all. But I thought it'd be like a fun thing to look into if, like, I like blue books more than other colors based off of the favorite shelf. And then recognized that it's not the fact that they're blue, it's the fact that I see blue, so I'm attracted to blue. Therefore, I read more blue books in general, so that's the reason why most of my favorites books, or a good chunk of my favorites books, are blue. Because I'm gonna say blue so many times in this video. Oh my god. But that, it's more like it was a outlier, is the fact that I read a lot of books that are blue. I recognized this, like, very recently. Like, this month alone, I think every book that I've read this month is blue so far. Like, The Well of Ascension, mass market paperback version. The color theme is blue, the deep is blue, and that's it. That's all the books I've read this month. Stay tuned for the wrap up for that. But I thought it'd be a fun idea to, like, read only blue books for a period of time. And so then I scoured through both books on my bookshelf. I could do this video in just actual physical books I own, because that's how many blue books I own. But I decided to do mostly ebooks, just because I do have a lot more ebooks than I do physical books. And then so I thought that would be like a fun thing to do, which is going to be 10 days, so that I have enough time to edit this before the end of the month. And then I thought like one day later it'd be fun to just read books that are certain colors in general. And so then I started to make lists of books based off of their color. Each video will have 5 books. There's not a specific month for each book, really. I think orange is going to be autumn just because it's just October, autumn, Halloween, orange all go together, and yellow is probably going to be one of the summer months just because yellow and summer go together. But other than that, and green's next month. This was originally not supposed to start until May because blue is my color and May is my birth month. So the 2 other reading vlogs for May are very me-centric. And so it was supposed to be blue in May, and that's when I start filming the series. But then a bunch of books, or a few books, that are already a part of that reading vlog or part of the green reading vlog, or books that I have to read in May for book clubs and stuff. So it just became May is gonna be green, so this month you get blue. Based on the thumbnail, you probably know what the books are. So I'll go with the ebooks first. I'll tell you what those are. Starting with the 2 that I thought I was going to start with, but based on the fact that I've read only high fantasy and dark mystery thrillers. I forgot I read The Good Daughter this month. Like, I've only read these high fantasy dark mystery thrillers this month, so I needed to start with a romance. So I didn't start with either one of the main ebooks, which I got from the library, which is the Time Machine one from H.G. Wells. That one's pretty short. I don't remember how long it says on Goodreads, but like when I opened it up on Libby on my phone, it was like 146 pages. Like I can read that in one day. It's fine. Which is great because I think I'm gonna need the extra day to read the other ebook, which is the other one I would probably start with because I got it from the library, so limited time. But that is The Last Time I Lied. Is that the name of it? The Riley Sager one. The Blue Riley Sager. I've read both an H.G. Wells and a Riley Sager before. I've read Home Before Dark. It should not be a surprise that Riley Sager will be in multiple of these because the first, I think, 4 books he released were all color themed. Home Before Dark was green. This one's blue, and then there's the red one, and there's a pink one. And so I think this is the one I know the least amount too, so this is going to be interesting. I think this is summer camp, but who knows. And then I've read The Invisible Man by H.G. Wells. I'm pretty sure that's H.G. Wells. Last year, near the end of last year. So those 2 are the library books, and then I have another ebook through Kindle Unlimited, which is the selection, the first book in the selection series by Kara Cass. I think that's how you pronounce her name. I also have the audiobook at the same time. So there's 2 books in this that are both ebook and audiobook. Is there a specific reason why I got both ebook and audiobook for this one? No, except for the fact that I think it will help me get into it faster, and also I like to test out audiobooks for YA, especially YA fantasy romance books, because a lot of the time I do not like them. So the more I find a good narrator for them, the happier I am. Then the other book that I have both an audiobook and normal copy. I have a physical copy and audiobook of Things in Jars by Just Kid. This one's gonna be interesting. I don't know if it's a prologue or intro or first chapter or whatnot, whatever the first bit of writing for this, I have read it right when it came out. And it was a bit slow for me, stopped reading, and never continued. So, like, I'm clearly gonna have to start from the beginning. But I think because of how slow it was for me to get into it, okay, that's being cut because of the very close playing, which never happens here. But almost instantly after picking this up, I put it down and never picked it back up. So I think the audiobook will help me get through it, get through the slow bit in the beginning, which I have a trouble with. I don't even know what genre this is, really. I think it has mermaids based on the cover, but what do I know? So this is the other one that has an audiobook on top of other copy. And then the one I'm starting with, aka The Romance, is A Love Hypothesis. I can't speak words, apparently. The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I'm only like 11 pages into this. I've read the prologue and a little bit of chapter 1. I enjoy it so far. It's pretty good. I mean, I've got a blue bookmark, so I'm living my best life. But like, it's not anything special so far. I presume the guy in the prologue is this guy here. I don't remember his name. He hasn't said his first name yet. Dr. something Carlson. That's what it is. And she's Olive. I know that. So the way this is going to be set up is that in the morning, I'll update you on where I got previous day, because I have been reading later into the night recently, so that just makes sense. Also, reading sprints will be a thing. The ones that I'll be reading these books in will have blue backgrounds for the thumbnails, so if you want to go back and watch me read these, you can. But yeah, so this is the first book. I guess I could give you the basic rundown, which I think most people know because it's got like really popular on TikTok and stuff. But basically, Olive is a PhD student and he's a professor, and to trick her best friend into, I think it's something about dating her ex or something like that, she kisses him in the middle of a hallway. That's where the first chapter starts. Like, the prologue is, I assume they're meeting, but she doesn't know it's him. And then the first chapter is like her kissing some random guy in a hallway. And so I know that's him. So that's like where it starts. Like right there. It starts right in the action. So that's an interesting choice. Basically no one likes him because he's looked at as the mean professor and all this stuff. But she, like, they have a fake dating relationship in order to trick her friend into going for her ex because they'd be a good couple and she wants them to be together, and then they end up actually liking each other and romance ensues, is what the synopsis is. So far, I like the writing style. I don't know if you can see this, but like the text size is giant in this. Maybe it's because I've been reading the mass market paperback edition of The Well of Ascension where the text is like super tiny, but dear God, the text is large in this. So I'm going through it, like I say I'm going through it real fast. I'm only like 11 pages in, but I've been going through it fast. But yeah, that's the plan. I hope to get about halfway done tonight. There's 352 pages, so it shouldn't be that hard. And then, especially with the large text, dear God. And then tomorrow morning, update you on where I am before I do sprints, where I'll finish this book. That is the current plan. So I will see you tomorrow morning before 10 a.m. because that's when the sprint's on. Okay, we're gonna, ignore the sounds of the dog sleeping on my bed because it's only 7:30ish. It's not even 7:30 yet. In the morning on Thursday. Mostly because I am doing sprints in less than 3 hours. So I wanted to get this done so I can get other things done, like eating food beforehand. But give you an update on the love hypothesis. I did not get halfway through. I got a dog moving. I got a third of the way through. About 112 pages. Yeah, that's perfect. I actually should have left that open because there's these at the beginning of each chapter. There's like a hypothesis type thing that is interesting. I think it's like, so far what I can tell is that it's themed around what happens in that chapter. Like, my favorite one so far is one that is something about how in a room with no matter how much furniture or what furniture, sitting on Dr. Carlson's lap will be so much better and more comfortable and blah blah. And then the whole entire chapter basically was based around how she was forced to sit in his lap. And, you know, it was cute. This is a cute book. I was worried because, like, I've heard people complain about Olive's character and how she's annoying. I don't find her that annoying, so I'm not in that group. And then some people have said that's not, like, the banter isn't really there and it's not cute or anything like that. It's just dry, which is not a problem for me either. Like, the banter is adorable. I am laughing a lot. It's gonna be fun on sprints having people watch me laugh at this book and such. But here's the reason why I only got 100 pages into the book last night, despite the fact that I could have, with the speed that I was actually reading, I could have done it. I could have gotten halfway. In fact, I low-key expected to get to 200 pages, except for the small little fact that Olive's anxiety just like feeds my anxiety. You know, like I'm one of those people who get secondary like anxiety based off of something happening in a movie or a book. You know what I'm talking about, right? This is a normal thing, right? And Olive is a very anxious person, which is, I assume, why people find her annoying. Because if you, like, it is annoying how she's constantly, assuming all these things she's noticing Adam do that prove that he likes her, are just in her head, or the way she rambles sometimes can be annoying, especially since it happens a lot. Me, it's just how I work as well, so I'm just like, cool, yeah, it makes sense. And then, like, they're in an awkward situation where she's forced to sit on his lap in a crowded room, or forced to kiss in public, and I'm just sitting there living through, like, the anxiety that she's feeling with this awkward situation, just heightening my own anxiety, and so then I just have to sit there staring at this open book for like 5 minutes, and then read another page, and then stare at the open book for 5 minutes, because that's how I have to do this. This is how my life has to be lived when I read this book. I think reading sprints will help me, because I'll just force myself through it. Force myself through the anxiety. I'll already be anxious because I'll be alive, so it'll be fine. But yeah, that's my current thoughts on this. I don't think at this point it will be a 5-star, but I am enjoying it. What's the best friend's name? Anne? Is that how I pronounce it? I know it's spelled A-N-H. I'm pretty sure that's how it's spelled. But, I do love the friendship, in this book. The friendship is top tier. Which is something I was worried about with a book in which I knew that the fake dating was happening because the best friend likes her ex, who, like, she only went on a few dates with. Like, it's not that big of a deal to her. Like, it's low-key a deal. Like, it's a little weird, but, like, it's not that big of a deal. And so then she has to convince her friend that she's over this guy and all this stuff. So, like, it's a little bit, I was worried. It was worrisome. But I love the relationship, especially the whole, like, they have a deal to get married over, if she ever has to get deported, 'cause she's from Canada. So there's that whole thing. Also, I'm pretty sure I guessed that the pancreatic cancer obsession had to do, not really obsession, but, like, focus, had to do with someone, especially most likely a parent dying. So, like, I got that right. But I think that was pretty obvious. I don't know. I saw yesterday that Adley Hazelwood is coming out with another book soonish. So, like, apparently this is the perfect time for me to read this. So, look at that. I think that's it for thoughts on this. I'm enjoying it. I'm gonna go read this on camera in front of, like, 3 people. Well, technically I did finish the Love Hypothesis last night. Was it around 11:30 p.m.? Yes, but it is done. What can I talk? I mean, I expected a lot of things to happen. Did I expect the friend of Adam's friends, and the essay? No, but I was expecting something with him. So, like, it wasn't that big of a surprise. It was just like, oh, that's the route that this is going. Okay. As soon as she realized that her phone had been recording the whole time, like, I was expecting, someone to, like, accidentally hear the recording of what had happened and all this stuff. So, that was, like, kind of obvious. Also the fact that we, as a reader, as well as every other character that isn't Olive, knowing that Adam clearly has a thing for her. And even, like, some of his, like, one of his oldest friends and him both know that he has had a thing for her for, like, years. And the whole entire time, she thinks that whenever they talk about this girl that Adam's into, that it's someone else. And we're all just like, nah, fam, it's you. That being said, loved it. Still, like, some of the things that An does, I'm not the biggest fan of. Like, her character, for the most part, for a good chunk there, the purpose of her was to just force Olive and Adam into PDA situations, like having her go kiss Adam after he pushes a truck, or put sunscreen on his bare-chested body in the middle of a public picnic, and further things. Also forcing her to have to stay in a room with him, hotel room with him. Really was expecting the one bed trope. And I mean, even Olive was expecting it. And so when it didn't happen, both Olive and I were surprised. It didn't matter because they both ended up sleeping in the same bed anyways. But, like, also, just, okay. Like, I recognize in real life so many red flags here. But, in this world where I can just pretend this is a happy, beautiful romance and everything's happy. It's beautiful. I love it. It's great. Some of the friendship stuff I was questionable about. Also, the writing style when it came to dialogue a few times, especially if there was more than two people, I would get confused who was saying what. A few times when it was just Adam and Olive talking, I would have to go back and reread the dialogue and to figure out who said what. And so when it was like a double date and there were 4 people, I was having a time. Also there's the anxiety. Like, this book really just wanted to liven up my anxiety. I mentioned it, I think, a little bit yesterday, and I did mention it a bunch in the reading sprints yesterday, but Olive and I have a very similar brand of anxiety, and so when she does, like, these things that hurt, it's just her brain working the way it does with her anxiety, whatnot, which I understand because my brain works a very similar way, and I understand why people find her annoying because of it. So, like I find it annoying in myself, so, like, I understand. I get why people sometimes don't like Olive's character, but I liked it. But then there was the problem with, like, all these PDA and the fake dating relationship type things where it was very awkward and such, and so then it would induce some good old anxiety in her, and then my anxiety, just like her anxiety fed my anxiety. It was a time. Though Adam helped sometimes with her, not really for me. I think that guess for me, because if he calmed down her anxiety, my anxiety went down a little bit. But, like, yeah, definitely will check out her next book, which is coming out later this year. Currently going, I was trying to decide between a 4 and a 4.5 rating, because, like, I did love it, and I almost cried a few times because I was just like, this is beautiful. I love it. Also, when her 2 friends had to tell her in the bathroom that what she went through does count as SA, and they were all crying, and I was just like, oh no. Trying not to cry myself at, like, 10 p.m. It was a good time. So, it was, like, very on the fence between 4 and 4.5, but I'm going with a 4 just because, it's cute. It's a happy little romance. I love it. It's got some other things thrown in. The third act, whatever that romance characters always have to go through, and, like, causes a breakup, and then they end up together in the end anyways type thing. Actually enjoyed. It made sense. Like, it didn't make sense, like, all of you a big dum-dum, but, like, it made sense in the context, like, character-wise for Olive. Yeah, this is something she would do, and all this. And then when it all came out, and it was happy. Also, the epilogue was only 3 pages, and I didn't hate it, which, you know, extra points there, because I normally hate epilogues. I think they're very useless. But it wasn't really my favorite in some aspects. Like, it could have been better, but I still loved it. So I'm going with a solid 4. This was honestly a great pick, especially for the first book for this video, because it was a fast read and I just needed a cute romance, okay? Next one I'm gonna read is the Riley Sager, so I think it's called The Last Time I Lied. I think that's the beach one. I don't know. I should probably actually figure out which one that is. You know what? I'm gonna pull it up on my iPad. Okay, I lied. I picked it up. I looked at it on my computer. Which, yes, the name of it is The Last Time I Lied. And I'm not gonna read the whole synopsis because I don't like reading the synopses of mystery thrillers. Ooh, this is considered a thriller and then a mystery. Interesting. Because sometimes they give them away and whatnot. Final Girls is the red one. Okay. This is the one with summer camp, where 3 snuck out of their cabin at night. And then I think they like went missing. This was like 15 years ago, and now she lives in New York City. And then she ends up back at the camp for some reason, and like the mystery comes full circle or something. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know, because I very briefly skimmed this. But here, I'm gonna look at the ratings comparison because that actually intrigues me. Though it says that people who like this liked Rock, Paper, Scissors by, I think it was Alice Feeney, and I did not like that one. Yeah, I think the only one that is rated higher is Home Before Dark, which I did enjoy. That's the only one of his books that I've read before, and I rated that one 4 stars. So, no, I did not just throw my computer. So I have high hopes, and it's 384 pages according to Goodreads. I don't know, I'll see how long it is on my Kindle. But, that one's the one that I'm going to start today and hopefully finish tomorrow. But, like, if I don't finish it tomorrow, I'm not going to be that upset because I'm expecting this one to be the longest one. Or the one that takes me the longest amount of time. Because it's, the heaviest one, I assume, that also I don't have an audiobook for. I'm going to try to find an audiobook for it. We'll see. But because of that, I'm expecting it to take longer, which is fun because I'm expecting the time machine to take me only 1 day. So, like, that extra day for the time machine will go to the Riley Sager. I've already figured this out. And then after I finish this one, I'll go to the selection because something tells me I'm going to need to go to something slightly lighter. And so, YA fantasy romance seems up to par, right? Like, I don't even know what that one's about either. I don't know what any of these are about. I assume the time machine is about time travel. I'm great at this. I totally know what I'm doing. Anyway, see you tomorrow morning with my first update of The Last Time I Lied. I'm still not sure that's the right name. Like, am I even knowing it from the top of my head properly? Probably not. But yeah, I'm gonna go do sprints in like an hour exactly and read a bunch of this book. So, see you tomorrow. Alright, it is Saturday. This is the next day. And I mean, it's a little later in the morning. It's 9:22. But that's because I'm not doing sprints today. And I got to page 203 of The Last Time I Lied. I stopped pretty early last night, like around 9:30, which is earlier than the past few nights, especially with the Love Hypothesis. So I could have read more. I definitely could have gone to end of part 1, which I think was only another 50 pages, so like not that much longer because I am reading it fast. Storygraph says it's medium paced, but I'm like reading it really fast. But I think that's also because I just don't care. I don't care. I did tell myself that I would be better at DNFing this year. That being said, I think I'm gonna finish it and I'm not gonna DNF it. I did like look at some 2-star, 3-star reviews. So some people who didn't enjoy it as much as other people, because this is his, I think, 2nd best rated book or something like that. So like, it's pretty high up there. More than 4 stars. I think it's like 4.06 or Yeah, it's the second highest. But the general consensus of people who didn't like it is that while they didn't like the story and the characters, God, I hate the characters, and nothing, like, it didn't feel realistic at all, which totally feel that. And also the writing style is a bit much. And I only found one that brought up the fact that it's, like, weird reading a bunch of sexualized teenage girls, like 16, 17, at one point 13-year-old girls written by a middle-aged white man, as well as a 13-year-old going through her first period written by a middle-aged white man. Like, it's not an experience I want to go through. Why does this happen? This is the second time this has happened to me this month. Technically the other one was written by a female, but it was still not a great time, and I don't want to be here. So the general consensus of those people is that while they did not like a lot of the book, the ending is great, and how it comes full circle and the plot twist, all that. So I will finish it just because that seems like it should be worth it in the end type thing. So I don't think it's gonna be more than 3 stars at all. It's gonna definitely be kind of a the girl in the mirror type situation, where if the ending is worth it, I'll give it 3 stars. If not, it's gonna be probably a 2.5, because I'm not having a good time, which is, I'm sad, because it's the unpopular opinion, like, everyone loves this book except for me, which is sad. It's like, I heard that Riley Sager does some questionable stuff when writing his female characters. Like, he's not great at writing them, which is a shame because they're like the main characters in all of his books. And in Home Before Dark, like, there were a few times on the fence where I was like, okay, yeah, I can see where that can be seen and whatnot. And in this one, yeah, I understand now why this is just not a good time. And also, hear me out, I don't care if, like, your 3 friends from 15 years ago went missing and are presumed dead, and you're now back at the summer camp to find out what really happened to them. I don't care if they set up a secret video camera to watch you during the night because they don't trust you, and yet they're the people that are most likely to have been behind what happened to your friends. You get out of there. You get out of there. I don't care. That's when you go to the police and you get out of there. I do not know, because I'm pretty sure it's New York. I don't know New York laws of recording people against their will. But you get out of there. And then they, like, made it like it was her fault because of her traumatic background of, like, how she went to a mental health facility for 6 months after everything. And I'm like, listen, if you're 13, you make some great friends, and then they all go missing, are presumed dead, you're the ones that recognize they went missing, you get questioned by the FBI and the police, and all this stuff happens, and then you start seeing hallucinations. Like, I'd expect something to go wrong with you mentally, okay? Like, this is, what did you expect? Her to be perfectly fine afterwards? Like, no. So yeah, I'm not having a good time. There's other things too, a lot of weird things, like people using red paint on the door to her cabin to say things. There's also people watching her sleep through windows, and people watching her take showers, and oh, and also people bringing birds into her cabin, which match the birds on her charm bracelet that symbolize the girls that went missing and whatnot. And so, like, all these things, like, especially at the door, when a few people may have hinted that they thought that it was her, and when I say hinted, I mean almost right out came out, and she was like, yeah, I understand what you're trying to say, it wasn't me, like, it's not my fault. Also, like, if she noticed the security camera the first night, you're expecting other people not to notice the security camera? Like, no. Plus there's multiple people, like, I'm not having time. So based off of what I read of people's reviews and synopses, I'm pretty sure what's gonna happen at this point is they assume that she's the one that did it. She assumes they're the ones that did it, and eventually it all comes out what really happened. I assume it's something to do with the family long ago, because like this lake was man-made, and there's this like ghost story that there used to be a town there. And I mean, it was a valley that he flooded on purpose. And there's this like ghost story type thing where it was a town and a bunch of people lived there, and they like wouldn't sell him the property, so he just flooded it anyways at midnight, which is why it's called like Lake Midnight or something like that. And so there's like one ghost story where it's the ghosts of the people who drowned, and then there's one where it's the ancestors of the people who drowned, like. And then there's also some weird history book with a photo talking about an asylum from the 1800s, I'm pretty sure. And the name of the asylum was on a box full of rusted old scissors that one of the missing girls found years prior, like a year before she went missing. And she was like, something about that was what she was researching when she went missing. So like, all this stuff is happening, and I'm not having a time. Also, the one guy who, like, it's obvious that she had a crush on him when she was 13. Yeah, it makes sense. But he, like, it's 15 years later, and he assumes that she's still down to, like, be a thing with him. And she's like, yeah, I still like you. But, like, it's not gonna happen, my dude. Like, my friends went missing and are presumed dead 15 years ago, and you think I'm here to, like, flirt with you? Like, no. Like, I hate everyone is the moral of the story. I just hate everyone. I'm not here for it. But I am reading it fast, so there's that. I think, according to my Kindle, I have like 3.5 hours left of reading, so I will finish it today, which I'm amazed by. I do want to finish it today, and then maybe, hopefully, because other people have sprints tonight, get some of the Time Machine done, and then finish that tomorrow. So I'm ahead schedule right now, which I'm fine with. But yeah, I'm not having a good time, and I'm upset about it because like I had high hopes with the ratings that everyone gave it and stuff. Maybe it's just because I'm not in mystery thriller mood. But like also it said that people who enjoyed this liked rock, paper, scissors, and I did not enjoy that one. So, and they do have similar vibes. Also, it just reminded me of other pieces of media where it's like summer camp, something bad happened 10 years ago, someone went missing, presumed dead, and now they're going back to the scene, like, type thing. Like, this is common enough where even I know it. And I don't watch many mystery thriller horror movies and TV shows, or read many of them. Like, this is... it's just bland. Let's go with that. It's just bland, and the stuff that isn't bland is just creepy middle-aged white man writing over-sexualized teenage girls. So, that's what's happening. This shirt has blue in it. It's more obvious in person, but it does. Also, I hope you can't hear the dishwasher right below me, but who knows? Let's talk about the last time I lied. It is like 9:30 and I gotta leave the house in like 27 minutes, so I'm gonna do this fast because I also am editing as I record. But I finished it last night. It is Sunday, so I did finish it yesterday around 10 p.m. I did not have a good time. I was having conversations with people on like sprints and stuff about it, and there's a lot of questionable things, but also like I get like now people complaining about how Riley Sager writes his female characters. Really get that, especially since 98% of the characters in this book are female. So there's that. Also, it had a lot of aspects that I don't like in mystery thrillers, like the like blaming people or telling the police that someone did something when they didn't, or believing someone did something and they didn't. And so like we get that on two sides. We get what's her name? Emma. That's her name. Emma tells the police on multiple occasions, like she blames Theo, she blames Franny, she blames the groundskeeper, like she blames a bunch of people for the missing girls in general. And then everyone believes she's the one who did it. And like the only time I ever feel happy in one of those situations is at the end when everyone gets their, like, everything gets their comeuppance, and it's all like, finally, like, everyone realizes, oh shit, we did bad, and like, something happens from it. I think it's a Netflix miniseries called Unbelievable that's like that, where they think she's just lying about what happened to her, and so, like, years later, like 10 years later or something like that, when it comes out that it was true all along, and they put this girl through all this crap for no reason, and then she, like, sues the living daylights out of them, gets something good out of all of this. Like, that is the only time I've enjoyed that. This, God, no. Like, the last 100 pages was just that, and I was just like, this is my least favorite part. Like, this is my least favorite thing in mystery thrillers, and it's just the last 100 pages. So there was that, which is why it's a 2.5, not a 3. Also, the ending, which, from all the reviews I read and such, everyone was like, if the ending, just the best ending, just wow, shock factor, makes it worth it. You can hear the train, we're ignoring that. But, like, no. Like, I guessed, I can't spoil it, but, like, there's this one aspect. She saw the original girls from 15 years ago, right after it happened. She was seeing them, like, their ghost type thing, and it happened to be a hallucination type situation, and she ended up going to a mental institute for 6 months, and with the help of, like, medication and therapy, and, like, systems in place, she has grown and able to take care of it, and she no longer has these problems. The like, people who own the camp, like, they have money, so they were able to, like, dig it up, because she's 13 when this happens. So, like, I'm pretty sure those records are very well hidden, and they, like, dig them up to be like, yeah, well, the whole entire reason why I'm pretty sure illegally set up a security camera to keep an eye on her, and her alone, is because of this thing that happened, like, when, like, you would think that something, like, she would have, obviously, some type of mental something happen if, like, 3 best friends go missing and are presumed dead when you're 13. Like, what? And then it's just treated like, she's crazy and there's nothing, like, to do about it. Like, it was set up like it was supposed to be this whole thing about mental health with women and how it's misinterpreted, and it's always been misinterpreted, and all the bad things that happen with it, and how she could have had it so much worse. And I'm just like, except that's exactly how people are treating her now, so you're not, like, saying anything except that mental health is just a horrible thing that happens. Like, what? And so it's just none of it. It's just a good time. But was able to see the girls back then, and then she ends up back at a camp, and she's able to see one of them again. And she thinks she's going crazy. Everyone thinks she's going crazy, except things happened. You learn things in the very end, and I guessed that one tiny little factor right. Did I guess who had kidnapped the girls current day? No, because that was just so weird, and also there was, like, no setup for that, especially since he wasn't even really in the book. The character that was more in the book than him was their fiance. Like, no, it was not set up well. And then, like, the location of the final, like, battle, I did like. It was nice, it was creepy, and then she finds the dead bodies of the girls from 15 years ago, and then it turns out that things don't seem as they appear to be. They were murdered, and then it ends with some knowledge about some things. Also, there were 3 different times, one in the very beginning, one at the end of part 1, and then one at the very ending, where it's all, like, told from, is it 3rd POV, where it uses you pronouns, like, you know, like fan fiction. And I was just like, what? What? Like, the first few times I understand, because I could, like, understand it as of, like, she's dissociating from it, because traumatic things have just happened. The last one, I don't know. I don't know, honestly, okay? Also, I do not know how I feel about her ending up with Theo in the end game. Like, I don't, like, she blamed him for the murder and kidnapping of 6 different girls in total. A total of 2 to 3 times. Whacked him over the head with a flashlight, and also, like, on top of other things. And also him blaming her. Like, it does not... No, I'm not having a good time. Anyways, at the end, when everyone was like, oh, it wasn't her all along, it just said that everyone apologized. I'm just like, no. No. Also, the way that she figured out the fact that they were selling the girl's hair in, like, the 1800s from that some asylum that was a part of the whole entire plot, like, the way she figured it out was because she watched Sweeney Todd recently. What? So you're telling me if she hadn't watched Sweeney Todd recently, she wouldn't have figured it out? Also, how did Vivian figure it out? Like, I don't know. Anyways, the ending was not worth it. And, I mean, it wasn't really well written. I like the atmosphere of it. The atmosphere was great. But I generally just don't like any character. I didn't like anything about this book, really. I can see why people like it. Like, if you like that writing style and you don't mind the way that the characters are written, you could like it. And also, if the ending was a shock, yeah, it could be a very positive reading experience for someone. But for me, it was just not worth it, fam. I'm not living my best life. So that's my spiel on The Last Time I Lied. Next up is The Time Machine, which I'm going to read today, all of today. That's what I plan to read today. Only today. How many times can I say today? It is, I found out, because my phone is a different page length, so it's about 118 pages in reality. And because it's a classic, it's like part of the free domain type thing, so like there's a bajillion audiobooks of it on YouTube, so I found one. I think it's from Libro FM. And it's just under 4 hours. It's like 3 hours and 40 minutes for the whole thing. So with times 2 speed, it shouldn't take me that long to read it. So that's what the plan is today. I plan to read that one, which means I am ahead of schedule, and I'm proud of that. But that is where I'm leaving you off until tomorrow. Can you tell I did laundry this weekend? Wearing this shirt again. It is Monday. It is early in the morning. It's like 8:30-ish because I have sprints in an hour. And I did read all of The Time Machine yesterday. It was very fast. It was like 118 pages. And things that I can say. Was not expecting cannibalism. What? Also, I recognize that was written in the 1890s, but seriously, the N-word was used twice that I remember, and Oriental was used. It felt like a slur, but like, what do I know? As in a slur once, I think. So, that's time. But I recognize it was written in 1895. So, like, it's just disappointment. But yeah, there were very few characters with actual names. Like, all the friends of the time travel and the time traveler were all known by their titles and professions. Like, there was the editor, the journalist, the time traveler, the physician, or the medical man, the very young man, the provincial mayor, the psychologist. Yeah. And then I think there was like one person with an actual name from when he time traveled. So like this book starts off with him explaining to his friends the 4 dimensions of what time travel is, and then showing him like a mini version of his time machine, in which they don't believe him. and he says that there's a bigger one that's just about done. And so then, like, later that weekend, he invites all his friends back, or like a few of them back over, including the editor and journalist who weren't there at the last meeting. And he's late to the meeting, and it's because he's time traveled. And so they are like, what the fudge? And then he shows up and he eats dinner, and then explain, like, he's all like disheveled and stuff, like there's blood all over the place, he has a scar on his chin and whatnot. And then he's like, fine, I'll tell you the story of what happened. And apparently he time traveled to 800,000 years in the future. I don't know why that would be your first attempt of time travel. Hear me out. There's such thing as minutes or hours. Like, you could have gone like 1 hour in the future or something, or 1 hour in the past, though that would probably have more repercussions. So like, he goes to 800,000 years in the future, and he has original beliefs on the system that's going on there. Like, the people are vegetarians, everyone looks alike, gender's no longer like a construct, there's no longer cattle or anything. They're all like very happy. The language is very different, and just a lot of noises, really. What is language normally? And he considers them simple-minded. And then he starts to realize little things. One, his time machine is stolen. Thankfully, he's taken out the lever so no one can use it. But his time machine's stolen. Two, they don't know what fire is. Three, they're scared of the night and darkness. Four, there are no sick or elderly. And that's like, oh, and then there's like this statue with this hidden compartment, and there's like wells and something like that. And whenever he tries to ask people about it, they're just like, no. He gets a girlfriend low-key, like, and she's like the only person with a name, and that's Weena. But he ends up going into the dark pits and stuff and finds another race in which man has separated into two groups: the ones who are above ground during the day, and the ones who are below ground. Very Smeagol-esque in my mind, because they don't look very humanoid and whatnot. And then he starts to recognize the fact that there's no crematories or graveyards, and he doesn't understand what happens to the dead bodies and such. And then over time he realizes cannibalism. Basically the people on the surface are the cattle, and that is how it goes. And eventually he escapes and returns home, and then he decides to go back. Like, he takes a camera, like one of his friends shows back up and is like, hey, my dude, like a day after the story is told, is like, hey, my dude, what's going on? And he's all like, well, I'm gonna go do something, I'll be right back and I'll prove to you that all this is real. And he has a camera. But right before this, the guy who the friend jiggles something on the time machine. So I think maybe he accidentally messed something up, because the time traveler then presumably goes back to 800,000 years in the future to take some pictures and some proof, but he never returns, and no one thinks he will ever return. No one knows what happened to him. So my thought is that that person accidentally did something to the machine, and it caused it to either malfunction and just crash, or him to go to the wrong place, or him unable to do a return trip or something like that. That's my theory. It was pretty interesting. I understand why it's like the father of science fiction type book. And I did like similarities to The Invisible Man, the only other H.G. Wells that I've read. I read that last year. The ending very much reminded me of it. But it was interesting. I liked it. I'm gonna go with 3.5 stars. Cannibalism, I was not expecting. Like, as soon as he started to recognize that there was no bodies, and then I was like, wait a second, there's no old people and there's no bodies. Oh no, what are they doing to the bodies? Also, the imagery of the like cave people grabbing onto him in the darkness, that happens so many times, but it's still creepy. Like, no. And then him like trying to use matches to light matches because, like, they're used to the darkness, so any light blinds them, which is why the upstairs or the above ground people are scared of the dark of the night because they can come out during the night. So he has like a limited amount of matches, and so he's trying to do that. But also, like, then there's one time where he's like, okay, I got secret matches and they don't know about it, but then he realizes that the type of matches that only light off of the box, and the box has already been lost, and he's all like, oh shit. It was very interesting. 3.5. If you want to read it, I say go ahead. It's not particularly bad or anything, and it's definitely interesting. And it's only 118 pages, so it'll take you no time at all. It'll take like 2 hours to read. Today, I plan to get into Things in Jars by Jess Kidd. I read the first chapter or prologue or whatever it is. This is folded. Sir Edmund? What? And I was very confused. I read that like right after this book came out, and I was very confused by what was happening. I didn't understand. It was not my speed. It felt like it was supposed to be very atmospheric, but it wasn't my type of atmosphere that I like. So, I put it down, and then I never picked it up again. So, this is me picking it up again. I've got the audiobook on Scribd for this one and the next book too. So, that's easy. I'll be able to get through it faster. For this one, I think that's really important because of the difficulty I had getting through it before. Just getting through that one chapter. Like, I don't think I even finished that one chapter. So, I think the audiobook will help me push me forward until I get to a point where I enjoy. Also, I hope there's actual mermaids in this, because if they put a mermaid on the cover and there's no actual mermaids, I'll be sad. I bought this because of the mermaid on the cover, okay? So that's the plan. I'm gonna get into this, specifically in sprints. So, see you tomorrow. And hopefully the birds won't be chirping then. Let's see if you can hear the laundry downstairs. It's like 10 a.m. on Tuesday. I don't even know the date anymore. I think it's the 26th. It is 10:30 in the morning now. And I got to about page 141, I think, in Things in Jars. What is this? It's a weird book, I'll say that. According to Scribd, with me listening at times 2 speed, I really like the Scribd app for doing this. It tells you how much longer you have if you're, depending on the speed you have it set to. So with times 2 speed, I have 3 hours and 20 minutes. Also, love the narrator. I don't know why I didn't get that this was set in England, being as the author is English, but does take place in 1860s London, or at least part of it is London. Some of it's outside of London, but it is English, and so the narrator is great. I love her. I think her first name's like Jacqueline. We'll see. But there's that. Also, there's some flashbacks type stuff. So it's currently September of 1863, I think. And where every once in a while there's like a chapter that is a flashback to her childhood in May of 1841. Because there's like one thing she found that connects to this guy who kind of bought her, I guess, but adopted her, and that's kind of a thing he does when she was a child, who's like a famous doctor and whatnot. And so the guy who hired her for this case, she finds in one of his locked up rooms this subject in a jar that is a mermaid baby in a jar. But basically the story of this is Bridie. I want to say Birdie every time, but it's Bridie because it's short for Bridget. She's a widow who works kind of as like an investigator, and also like looks at, like, is low-key a coroner and whatnot, but like this is a time when one of the first woman doctors was just brought up, and how it's really hard for her. So of course she doesn't have like a medical license or coroner license. She did once live, the guy who sold her to this famous doctor, who took care of her for a bit there, was one of those people who would find dead bodies on the street and whatnot and give it to doctors for them to do anatomy and stuff. So that's like a big part of this, is that type of thing that was going on back then. I guess I'm lucky that I knew about that beforehand, because I don't think I would have gone that as fast if I didn't. Which is, I don't know how I feel about that. But basically, she does that for a living. And the prologue, I don't know what was up with the prologue, but chapter 1, there's like a body found at a church, and it's a woman with a baby, and the baby has like really sharp teeth, which comes into a thing with whatever the creature is and the child is, because also the baby in the jar has a similar thing. But at the graveyard at the church, she sees a ghost, which is like a first for her. I think his name's like Ruby or Rudy, and he was a boxer, and so he's shirtless and such, and because he died working, and now he's basically haunting her. And originally I thought I was going crazy for wanting a relationship between Ghosty Boy and Bridie, but also he seems to know her from her past, but she doesn't remember him. But like the chapter after, I started like getting those vibes, like, hey, they are an interesting pair, they would be a cute couple. Right after that, she starts having an attraction for him and like imagining what it'd be like to live a life with him, but then reminding herself that he's a ghost. And then also there's a part where he imagines what it'd be like if he was alive and could be with her, but then he just yeets out of there through a wall because he's like, I can't live that life, I'm dead. So not sure where that is going. I was not expecting a ghost romance in this, okay? But basically, Baronet, or is that what it's called? I don't remember. Sir Edmund, his secret child goes missing, is kidnapped. We as the reader already know that it's the new nanny and the doctor, but the doctor goes to Bridie through Edmund. Like, Edmund goes through the doctor to go to Bridie to hire her to find his daughter. There's been a random lady's body found. Don't know how she's connected yet. And it seems like the child, she can't talk, but she can like sing really high notes. She controls snails. Also, there's something about the previous nanny. She drowned her by using, like, making water appear and drown her like that. And also really sharp teeth that she bites people with. So I'm not sure what's happening here with the kid. There's some question of whether or not it's actually Sir Edmund's kid, and if he just bought her for an oddity because he's into water creatures and such, which is a whole thing going on. But, like, who cares about that when we can talk about the romance between the ghost and the main character? Also, Sir Edmund, when he first noticed her, there's, like, God, it was a time, I was talking about it on Sprints because I was reading on Sprints when it happened. Like, I had to keep my finger on that page so that I could turn back to it. When he first sees her, he thinks she's a banshee come to take him away, but then he notices that she's voluptuous and, like, he's attracted to her clearly, and the way he describes her is voluptuous with like soft cushiony breasts or something like that, and compares her to pudding. He compares her to pudding. I want to find this page again because, oh my god. Yeah, okay, so he describes her as pleasantly stout, good looking woman, plump, wool-swallowed breast, giving her the appearance of a delicious, moist pudding. Flirting. He doesn't actually say this, but, you know, when I'm attracted to someone, I compare them to pudding. I don't know about you. It's a time. There's also another thing that the kid can do where she can, like kind of read your mind, but like bring out long forgotten memories and use that to like make people angry or whatnot, or make them feel what she wants them to feel by bringing out memories. So the nanny who's taken part of the kidnapping, who has the child right now, the child keeps on doing that to her, and so because of this, she keeps on telling these stories to this kid, clearly from her past, because they have the same disability, and she, it's like there's poisoning babies and stuff. Like, this is a weird book, okay? Let's just go with that. It's a weird book. A lot of weird things are happening. But definitely getting the Gothic London vibe, okay? But on top of that, the section I just read, there was a new, like, person mentioned in the past story with the nanny, and that new person has the same name as another character from Bridie's past. And here's the thing. I can't remember any character's name. Like, it's very difficult. Like, they'll say some character's name and it will take me like 2 pages for me to realize who they're talking about, because they brought them back, or they brought them up like 4 chapters earlier, and now they're back, and I'm just like, I don't remember who are they Pats? I don't know. Whatever their names are. I don't know what their jobs are in this household. And then also, Bridie's assistant slash house lady, forget her name every time, so when she comes up I'm like, who the hell is this? And that similar thing happened with that character. Was like, what? So I had to flip back, and because like it felt like it was important, and so I had to flip back, and I noticed that she was, when she got adopted by the famous doctor, she was one of the nannies who was a troublemaker, like a known troublemaker type thing. But yeah, that's what this is. I don't know. I'm gonna finish it today, and if anything else, it's been an interesting experience. Let's go with that. But I will see you tomorrow with the final update on this. And then it's on to the last book. I don't know what there's to say about this. This is a time. Things are so weird in this book. I guess there's technically mermaids. I really don't know how to describe this book. This is like, you know the Netflix movie Enola Holmes? If that was like much more darker, much more what you expect England in those times to be, like much darker Gothic feel, and more aged up, so like if she was in her mid-20s, so maybe like 10 years older. That's what this is if you just sprinkle a little bit of fantasy in it. It's kind of like that. The two case, like, there's a lot of stuff from her past that comes up in this, and also the evil nanny's past and such, and they are connected to what's happening currently, so that's fun. It's just written in a way that I can very clearly see why people don't like this. This is very mixed reviews, and it's very much an uncanny writing style mixed with a lot of tactics I know that are used in poetry, like repetition. I don't remember what page it is, but there's this one page where every paragraph starts with the same sentence, kind of like how in poetry sometimes each stanza will start with the same line type of thing. So each time you continue down, it just hits that much more, and it did the same exact thing in here, but with paragraphs. And there was a lot of tactics like that, a lot of repetition, that it took me a bit to notice, like especially when the nanny would tell stories from her childhood, how she would start off telling the story every time was the same way. And it took me like half the book to figure that out. But that happens. I hope you can't hear the birds in the background. So that's a thing. But also, the writing style in general is very odd. I can only think of one book with similar writing style, which, you know, I'll talk more about the comparison in the March-April wrap-up, because I did read that book, kind of, earlier this month. But the reason why I like this one and not that one, I think, is not the writing style in particular. It's the characters and the story have to be something that helps the writing style, because the writing style is just so uncanny. The gothic feel and characters and the way that everything is in this book kind of help push that forward, and it all just feels like one big beautiful universe. The writing style helps with the gothic feel. It's nice. And so that's why I liked this one better than that other one, which is why I'm giving this a hesitant 4-star. I was not expecting to give it 4 stars, because, like, this book is so weird. I don't know how to describe what this book is. Like, it's definitely not a 5-star with the pudding, comparing women to pudding, and also the fact that, like, every woman is into her, but also we got some gays in here. Like, she's described as 7 foot, but I don't know if she's actually 7 foot. Her handmaid, is that the right title? I don't know. Who lives with her, who used to be in the circus, is a very tall, big woman, and the wife of a circus leader who is the queen of snakes, and her flirt and go on a date or two. Like, that happens. Also, there's hinting at the nanny previously having a relationship with this other woman, and that's why a lot of stuff happens. It's interesting, I'll give you that. That being said, I don't think I'd recommend this to anyone, because this is just so, you have to have, like, be in a particular mindset, really want just, like, this gothic dark style with this weird writing style. Like, you gotta be in the right mood. You gotta be the type of person who likes gothic and this type of writing style, or who can like gothic and this type of writing style, and all this stuff. Like, your stars gotta align to like this book, so I don't think I'd recommend it. It's very clear why people don't like it, and it's a shame, because I think this could have been great. This could have been great for a lot of people, but sadly it's not. Anyways, going with 4 stars, and I'm happy with that, I guess. It's definitely more than a 3, and it's definitely less than a 5. So 4, I guess. Next up, the last book is The Selection by Kira Cass, which is a book series I've been meaning to read forever. And I think this is the second shortest one after The Time Machine, so it shouldn't take me that long. Like, I know Scribd says the audiobook is 8 hours. I don't know how many pages my ebook copy is, but I have an ebook copy and an audiobook, so I should go through it pretty fast. Don't really know anything about it. I know it's like kind of a competition thing. People like, I know it's compared a lot to Red Queen, at least on Goodreads, which, based off of the thing that I know where it's 35 girls competing for one crown, yeah, that gives me Red Queen vibes, and that was my favorite part about the whole entire Red Queen series. So I will take it. My plan is to finish that tomorrow, so we're almost done and we're ahead of schedule, so that's good. But I'll see you tomorrow with my initial thoughts on The Selection. It is the 28th of Thursday, and I am updating you. I mean, it is 1:30 p.m. I am updating you. I got to 71 pages of The Selection last night, and I have read 3 pages to get to page 103, because I do not DNF a book before I get to 100 pages, just in case it gets to the point where I'm enjoying it. But I'm not enjoying it. The best way I can describe it is like the Hunger Games mixed with the first book in the Red Queen series, mixed with Matched. Red Queen, I was like on the fence with. Hunger Games I enjoyed, but Matched I really hated, and this writing style is more like Matched, so it's not worth it. I'm not gonna rate it more than 2 stars, so I have decided to DNF it. that's how this video is ending. Though I will do a quick little rundown of each book, starting with The Love Hypothesis, which was a solid 4 stars, cute little romance. You can most definitely hear the rain outside. or not rain, the wind outside, but who cares about that? This was a cute little romance that I loved. But I wish I had more warning about some of the essay near the end. But that's fine. It took a bit too long for them to get together for me, but I understand why, and I also understand why people find, what's even her name? I don't know, Olive annoying. And then after that was The Last Time I Lied, which was 2.5 stars. I really thought that was going to be the one that I was going to DNF, but it was like an easy read, despite the fact that I hated the whole entire experience. It was an easy, fast read, so I could just do it fast. I also thought that was going to be the one that would take me 3 days, but here we are now. The ending was not worth it, like everyone said it was going to be, but that's fine. The mystery part was not my favorite. I didn't like any of the characters. She should have just gotten out of there as soon as they brought up the security camera. Like, as soon as she found the security camera, and then they blamed the security camera on her own mental history, which, like, you can't even say that when your own son, who was part of this, like, almost, like, tried to commit suicide. So you can't even blame her mental illness when he has his own mental illness around the same time for the same reason. Like, you can't even do this. No. I did not like it. Definitely understand why people have problem with Riley Sager's writing of women. Now, I'm on the fence with him now. I will read more of his books. I know Final Girls is planned for the red one of this series, and then I think it's Lock Every Door, that's the pink one, and that's planned for the pink one of this video series. But yeah, 2.5 stars. Wasn't the biggest fan. Then there was The Time Machine, which was really fast, really short, and I did like it. I think I went with 3 stars. It was good. I understand why it's like the staple of sci-fi, but the N-word was used twice, Oriental was used once, and as a slur, and it's not really my favorite in that aspect. Also, was not expecting the cannibalism, okay? That being said, I understand how he got his idea for, like, where this went and such, so I did enjoy it. 3 stars. And then there was Things in Jars. I will not recommend this to anyone. I will not do it. It is too weird. The writing style is too uncanny. I will talk more about it in my March-April wrap-up, because there's another book that had a similar, like, uncanny writing style, but I liked this one more. This had more of a gothic feel, is Gothic London, and also the mystery portion I actually liked in this one compared to that one. Also, I learned I like Gothic style, which is good for me in October when I read Jane Eyre. But I'm going with 4 stars with that. 4 stars, not stores. 4 stars with Things in Jars. And then I'm not going to rate the selection because I didn't finish it. I did get a third of the way through before DNFing it, so I guess I'm happy with that decision. But I'm good. I have too many books on my want to read list to put myself through that, like force myself to read it. Especially when I was talking to people during lives today and they were talking about how it's not worth it. Also, the narration in the audiobook, not good. I listened to like 0.5 seconds. It's one of those times where the narrator tries to make their voice like softer and lower to make themselves sound younger, which happens a lot in YA fantasy romance novels, and I hate it. Every time. It just gets on my nerves every time, and this time was no exception. So I'm good. I won't be finishing that one. But, subscribe. There's gonna be the green version of this next month. And a bunch more books in May. Or, bunch more videos in May. Because I got plans. But I will see you either if you show up to my lives / sprints, or in the next video, which should be the March-April wrap-up. So see you then.